liability should their product cause disability or death. Those who do not comply would be forcibly carted away to quarantine centers. Although this form of mass medical experimentation is a clear violation of the Nuremberg Code and the World Medical Association agreement at Helsinki, 1964, and ironically, both these agreements are posted on the Health and Human Services website. Their plans are in direct violation of these two agreements that are posted. Most states have also passed similar legislation to Project BioShield, which is the Model States Emergency Health Powers Act, and they all violate informed consent laws. Part of BioShield is that the ingredients of these countermeasures, for especially the ingredients of what's in the swine flu, that's proprietary. We will not know if we're allergic to any of those ingredients. Too bad. Let's just say you're highly allergic to one small component, whether it's formaldehyde or egg protein. Too bad. I mean, I'm serious. That's how serious this is. I mean, you don't even get to know what's in the vaccine with your name on it. There's 600 million on order. 2 with your name on it, 2 with your name on it. That's how many they have a purchase order for. I mean, I think that's pretty serious. And then the fact that, do I have a right to own my body? I love what Ron Paul said. I quote him all the time. If we allow the government to make medical decisions for us, we in essence accept the state owns our body. And, the whole concept of the whole vaccine thing, my gosh, you should be protected, right? Aren't you protected from, if you're vaccinated, from the unvaccinated? Well, the truth is that the vaccinated are generally the ones that are carriers of disease. All you have to do is trace a lot of these quote little epidemics, even the mumps little epidemic that happened in Iowa, and it was primarily among all the vaccinated children and college students. But they like to suppress that. I have all the stats from the CDC and the Panhandle Health District just in North Idaho from 1997 of a pertussis outbreak. And the figures are shocking. 253 cases. 81.5% had 4 out of 4 of their DTaP shots. It's a scam. In my county alone, Alan Banks of the Panhandle Health District got up at a talk and he said, yeah, our county was even worse. 85% had 4 out of 4 of their DTaP shots, and 3 out of 4 had, 15% had 3 out of 4 of their DTaP shots. So there were no recorded cases in this epidemic of those who had 2 out of 4, 1 out of 4, or 0 shots. What's the justification? What I tell people when they say, oh my gosh, you're a negligent parent, I don't want, my child playing with your child, this kind of stuff, it's like, I look at them like they're crazy. You mean to tell me that the medicine you take won't work unless I take it too? Jesus, how logical is that? Anyway, I just, people really need to get a clue that this is a religion. When you know the history of vaccinations, you understand that it went from bloodletting, where George Washington died, it was a whole bloodletting thing. So this whole Illuminati obsession with the blood, so they start taking out some of the blood as a means to cure disease. Well, that was thrown out the window. So now, since they're still obsessed with the blood, they have to poison the blood. They were called it went from bloodletting to calling them the blood poisoners. This is the history of allopathic medicine, which still persists today and is based on superstition and not science. You guys have really got to get clear on that. I wouldn't touch anything that's made from a pharmaceutical company if my life depended on it, because my life does depend on not taking a pharmaceutical product. And I wish I could get this into more people's heads, but I'm going to open it up to questions and answer. I could probably go on in some impassioned plea to wake up to the allopathic and the vaccine paradigm and, fight for the sanctity of your blood, which is a key to your health. It's a barometer of your health. It's key to your life force. Yeah, that's the whole idea about herbalists, recommending blood purifiers, because we frickin' have poisoned our blood, and our livers are toxed out because of this, because the liver is the filter and it's the master. It's actually more complicated than your brain. You should be protecting your liver and cleaning your blood for health instead of poisoning it. So that's about it. I could go on and on. I go on lots of different tangents, but everyone wants to be able to ask April and Tru Ott questions, and I have Dewey. Dewey's going to talk about your state's pandemic preparedness stuff, and he is my partner with Vaccination Liberation, and he is with Montana Families for Health Freedom. So I want everyone to give a big welcome to Dewey, who has dedicated literally thousands and thousands of volunteer hours for our websites, for research, and is my main partner in this whole thing.
Really great speakers today. That means I'm going to try to establish my greatness on the shortness of how long I stand up here. So see if we can't keep this in the 2 to 3 minute range, and then we can have these questions and answers. To start with, Ingri mentioned that in Missoula, October 3rd, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., we'll have 3 lectures talking about health, nutrition, and of course our favorite subject, vaccination. I should actually say that I think the speaker there will devote his time to immunization, which is a totally different subject than vaccination. And I better not say more, or this won't be 3 minutes. I spent a couple of hours looking at Montana law on the internet. I think it reminded me that I'm not a lawyer, probably don't have what it takes to be one, but I'll read you a couple of sentences. Now, this is from Montana 51-201. The department may adopt and enforce quarantine or isolation measures to prevent the spread of communicable disease. Well, there's 2 good things about this nonsense. One is there's no law pertaining to adult vaccinations, voluntary or otherwise. The second thing is that a person who does not comply with quarantine measures shall, on conviction, be fined not less than $10 or more than $100. I have a suspicion that if it comes to quarantine laws, they're going to tell you go into quarantine unless you're vaccinated. Which brings us to another very important point. Cassie, over at our booth here on my right, your left, has a petition to the governor not to give in to fear tactics, to declare any quarantine in the state of Montana. That's not a quote on the petition, but...
I'd like to interrupt here for just 1 second. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker.
All right, go ahead and interrupt.
We have the petition up here. We want everybody to sign it. But we also have this opportunity for you to come up and ask Tru Ott, Chrissy, April, any question you want. Any question you want that needs to be answered. Please come forward and speak in the microphone. God bless you.
Thank you. Let's see, where was I? So, let your state officials know that you, a citizen, is requiring of them, your servants, that there be no state mandated quarantines or county mandated quarantines. The only other thing I'll mention from this legal survey was that local health boards have certain powers and duties. And again, since I am not a lawyer, I may be misinterpreting this, but I think that your local county board can declare isolation and quarantine measures. I think they can adopt regulations, and I'm going to quote here, adopt regulations that do not conflict with rules adopted by the Department of Health for the control of communicable disease. It would be well to include in your correspondence your county commissioners and your local board of health and let them know that you will not tolerate this, that you're aware that medical personnel on health boards not only are not qualified to make judgments along these lines. For